Many thanks for inviting me to speak. I'm from PwC, and over the last year, PwC has developed some experience in clustering and namely within the pharma sector. So I'm going to speak about which are the critical success factors for the small, medium-sized companies that are here to expand and grow. So we during the last years, 2 years, we have been working really try to understand what was going on at European level with regards to SMEs growth, and namely within the parameters that we decided to take into consideration. It's not new. We look at funding. What we did the mapping basically on the deals that were occurring at European level. This is a study that we actually have done for the European Commission for the DG Enterprise, and actually shows that the Nordic regions are on the map. I think so many companies within Europe that are based in the Nordics managed to raise funds, and these are, I would say, a good news. If we go a little bit in details, I report here a study of Menon Business Economics. I think it was quite interesting. It was looking at the flow of investments into the Nordics and outside from the Nordics in terms of VCs. We see that most, like not most, but a big part of the funds were actually invested into life science companies, and then also we have seen towards last years that the funds due to the economic downturn were drastically reduced. And also another analysis that we did that is interesting. We look at where the targets of the acquisitions within the pharma sector were based. And actually we discovered that the Nordics still represent a very big source of innovation. This piece of information is quite critical in the sense that it is really promising that in the Nordics there are a lot of firms that could be acquired, meaning that you manage actually to have a very high level of innovation which is visible throughout the world, and that actually also you manage to sell it. So it means that all the potential at the point is gone, or I would say the growth of within the Nordics stops at when then the company is acquired, or at least it is decreased. So nice that you have investment. On the other hand, well, there is still a risk in terms of economic development. When we look at what you have in-house, you have great science. You're always within the top-ranked regions, countries within all innovation scoreboards. You manage to have a high rate of patent filing. You have great support structures such as the Karolinska development that we have seen today and others. So you are unique. You are unique because you have a very, very good basis that you can start from, and this is not common to other regions throughout the world. I'm going backwards. So it is difficult to advise on what to do such a powerful and dynamic composition of stakeholders. What we did, we really looked at the value chain of the company growth, and what we think actually that is, I'm not saying missing, but has to be boosted. It is the acceleration phase of the companies. So the acceleration in a company means incremental growth in terms of profit, creation of new jobs, increase of export, geographical expansion, and all these factors actually come up to the conception of a new structure of the company itself. So the company is not fit anymore to serve a local market, has to be fit to go global. So which are the critical success factors? Here is a very simple one, nevertheless is, I would say, difficult. Is difficult to be realized and put in place. Entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurial spirit, something that in Europe is lacking. And also, I would say, even though you start from a very good basis, entrepreneurs in Nordics have to be nourished and endorsed. So they are difficult to find, they are self-motivated, they are able to fetch the opportunities, they are problem solvers. Often they create disruption on the market. So actually organizations and policymakers need to react to these disruptions. They are able actually to assemble and convey different stakeholders, and also, very important, they're able to take risks, to accept failure, and to recover, right? And this is, I think, is absolutely a unique characteristic that has to be identified and endorsed. They are persistent and passionate as well. And of course, they are not afraid of starting a new business, actually. They can manage with this responsibility. So dispose of sustainable funding, so funding in all, I would say, throughout all the value chain. For the Nordics, what I would say is, I've heard a lot of investors today speaking about personalized medicine, diagnostic, medtech. So in order to do that, like a few issues have to be solved. If you think about what happens in the market, for example, in the diagnostic space, and in the personalized medicine space, most of the products cannot be reimbursed. And so this is why investors are sometimes mild in putting money into this business. So you concentrate a great potential in terms of technologies for the medtech and diagnostic industry. So what has to be also tackled is, I would say, the regulatory or policy-making perspective in terms of reimbursement. Why don't, I would say, just throw it on the table? Why couldn't we create a fund, you know, just for pharmacoeconomic studies? That could be an idea, right? So that could actually solve at least the problem at the end of the chain and have more better perspectives of profit for the investors. Then policy. We need policy makers that endorse entrepreneurs. We need to tackle issues that are related to, as the executives from Invest in Scan say, for attracting talents into the region, not only scientists, but maybe CEOs, right? So we need to be able to recruit. We need to be able to eliminate bureaucracy, for example, having access to European programs. We need to address a lot of important issues, like facilitate experts and trade. And then also boost the presence of cluster with an adequate support structure. You can see all the list here are like most of the structure that are really useful for company growth. The most important one I'm going to speak about is acceleration, the acceleration process. Now, how to unlock the potential? Here is first, as I said, is identify the entrepreneur. Here we have some examples of entrepreneurs that could make it. Not all could manage to arrive to such a level of exposure and of visibility. So why? If we look, this is the GEM Global Entrepreneurship Monitoring Report. If you look at what happens is here, the Nordic countries on the left-hand side are located to a low average level in terms of starting a new business. But then if you look to the right-hand side, we have the I would say the entrepreneurial skills within employees that are located within like middle-sized big organizations. And there, then you are at the top. All the Nordic countries, they're at the top. So this is your asset. the entrepreneurs are embedded within organizations, are difficult to identify, but somehow we need to pull them out and have them cooperating with other companies that are outside. And then this is like black and white. It's really an asset that you have that is unique versus other regions. Then another issue is, okay, where are the public entrepreneurs? We need to introduce here a new concept, which is, if we want them to be identified, to grow and to produce economic development, jobs, plants, R&D facilities here, how these people can go and speak with the policymakers? Which are the policymakers within this region that are going to represent a pillar, that are going to be visionary and impactful, that are going to identify, trust, reward, and recognize the entrepreneurs? Okay, so basically, the SMEs in general in the health sector need to face three challenges: lack of capital, because in any case we need quite a relevant amount of money to make a company to grow up and to reach the global geographical expansion. Then we need new talent and competencies. This is what I was saying before. A company changes the structure when it passes from local to global. So it is not an R&D focused company anymore. The company needs a CEO which is able to take strategic decision, to decide, on market access strategies, on where to put a plant, how to set up a production process, how to start strategic alliances. So these are the competences that the company needs when it grows, and then the global access. Now, the acceleration. So a company accelerator. I've looked for company accelerators here in the region. I was able to find one or two. Nevertheless, I wouldn't say that they are visible on the net, that people could easily find them. So this is something that probably you could think about. Is the accelerator is able to wide on a network that could be of investors or potential customers, but also potential suppliers. It has a competency that provide legal support, they provide financial support, logistic support in the landing country. And this is really key, that actually has experts that could give a very good perception what is the market in the country that you want to actually access. And then also very important, last but not least, the tax optimization. When you change really the scope, the geographical scope, then probably taxes need to be optimized, in a proper way, and then the accelerator has very good skills. So here is more or less, I would say, where they are located into the value chain, just to give an illustration, and the kind of support that they can bring. And then last but not least is expand geographically and export. So if you look at the exports of the Nordic regions versus their potential, they are still, I'm not saying that are low, but they could definitely improve. These are again figures from the global entrepreneurship monitoring, and there are some specific figures for the Nordic that are really interesting. So as takeaway, I would say yes, this region is unique. The investors are really giving you a hint. They are investing into medtech and diagnostic besides drug discovery. And this market is specific. There are some specific issues that you need to tackle, specifically related to reimbursement and also R&D, but reimbursement has a big part. So you might want to think about how to tackle this to increase the market impact, and also like the entrepreneurs that you own and that are embedded into the organizations. Many thanks.
Enrique, you mentioned that it's hard to pull out the entrepreneurs from big organizations. Yeah. How do you do it?
This is the key question. For sure, I would say I do not want to be reiterate always the same thing, but having a structure such as the Accelerator is a very nice ecosystem, because you have small companies, and then you have like the big companies that in any case are around to source innovation, and it is established, it is formalized, and let's say the small company doesn't have to go and chase big executives, because in any case the big executives know that there is a structure that where they can go and visit and shop. I'm not saying companies, but at least innovation or talents. And this is, I would say, this is the unique feature of the Accelerator. And you know, you have all the tools here to have one for life science.
You hear that? We have all the tools. It's a good start. Any questions to Monfardini? Enrique Monfardini, thank you very much for coming here. Here's a little present. Thank you.